All right. Hopefully everyone can see my screen. Good morning, everyone. We're so excited to have you with us today for Tomorrow City Today, our speaker series where we explore how 3 local organizations are advancing Memphis, particularly in shifting political landscapes. This webinar is proudly hosted by the Department of Public and Nonprofit Administration at the University of Memphis. I'm Dr. Elizabeth Gillespie, a faculty member in the department. And I have 2 roles today. First, I'd like to share that if you want to learn anything about the department, our programs, our research, or ways to support our work, we have some QR codes available for you to scan at any time. Second, it's my distinct pleasure to introduce our moderator, the incredible Ruby Bright. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. All right. So Ruby recently retired after an impactful 22 years as president and CEO of the Women's Foundation for a Greater Memphis, where she led the foundation in investing over $35 million into 560 programs across 182 local organizations. Amid the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic, she spearheaded an additional $12 million in statewide relief efforts for local organizations. She has led philanthropic efforts in the city for many years. Ruby's dedication extends far beyond her career. She serves on the board of Think Tennessee, holds honorary co-chair roles with the Ida B. Wells Memorial Committee and the Racial and Equity Task Force of the Tennessee Nonprofit Network. Her accolades speak volumes. Recognized as a Memphis Power Player for over a decade, a recipient of the 2022 Memphis Business Journal Power 100 Award, and the prestigious Miss Foundation's 2022 Women of Vision Award. In 2023, Ruby was honored with the Community Pioneer Economic Development Award and the inaugural Happy Jones Advocacy and Visionary Leadership Award from the YWCA of Greater Memphis. We are truly fortunate to have Ruby moderating today's discussion. Please join me in giving her a warm welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth, or should I say Dr. Gillespie, my apologies. It is wonderful to be here today, and we appreciate this opportunity to share our experiences. As moderator for today's event, my responsibility is to introduce the panelists and also for you to hear them and then field any questions that you might have. This is an amazing opportunity to really work with 3 dynamic women. I will start with Rhonda Brown. She's a Memphis native with over 28 years of business and economic development experience in public, private, and nonprofit sector. Rhonda is currently leading economic development efforts as Director of Economic Development and Buy Local with Memphis. With the Memphis Medical District Collaborative, and that's an MMDC for you all that love acronyms. She's responsible for business recruitment and business support and tracking local minority and women-on spends with the organization. Her expertise goes far and wide, as I said, in public, private, and nonprofit sectors. She is here to tell us about business, both residential and commercial, specifically as it relates to women-owned businesses. Rhonda holds a Bachelor's of Science in Business Administration and a Master of Public Administration from Walden University. Rhonda is a professional affiliate, includes the National Association of International Cities, County and Management Association, as well as the National Forum for Black Public Administrations and National MBA Association. Wow, she's busy. And she is also involved with CREW, Commercial Real Estate, and Women's Network. I'm going to introduce them all so that we can get in. I'm going to do that all at once if you all don't mind. Next we have is Shante Avant. Shante K. Avant, with over 27 years in nonprofit experience, is a transformative leader in Memphis. As president and CEO of the Women's Foundation for a Greater Memphis, she works tirelessly to enhance economic security for women and families. A Memphis native, She also serves on the Shelby County Commission, elected in 2022, and previously chaired Memphis Shelby County School Board. Her influence reaches actually across various boards, including the Shelby Farms Park Conservatory and the University of Memphis. Nationally, she's a champion for women's economic empowerment through initiatives like the Partnership for Women's Prosperity, Women's Funding Network, Young Women's Initiative, and many, many more. And then we have Deandra first, and then D. Franklin, a dynamic woman who is working on critical goals for Binghampton Development Corporation, the BDC. She's the executive director there, where she focused on advancing equity in the Binghampton community through home ownership, job creation, and encouraging entrepreneurship. As a leader of the corporation, which is the Binghampton Development Corporation, Dee shepherds the organization's workforce development programs, manages the Binghampton Gateway Center, represents the corporation's minority interest in the Tillman Cove apartments revitalization, the company commercial kitchen, and supporting the Binghampton Development Corporation new retail workforce development program aimed at hiring senior citizens. Wow, you're busy, Dee. She is also, Dee brings over 20 years of corporate finance leadership experience with Memphis, leading corporations in automotive, lawn care, and gaming industry. She has over 15 years of nonprofit and board experience. And okay, what am I leaving now?
That's it.
Okay, I got everyone?
Yes.
Okay, that was great. You all are three dynamic women, and we want to take this opportunity for you to share your expertise. Give us, first by telling us just a little bit about your organization, where you work, what you're doing, and in what way does your organization or the sector that you work in contribute to enhancing the well-being of Memphis residents, especially during this time of kind of the political landscape and the economic change. For all of you, I just want to remind you that's on the call that we'll hear from these women. I want to just remind you that today's topic sponsored by the Department of Public Nonprofit Administration is Tomorrow's City Today. Tomorrow's City Today. And first, we'll start with you, Rhonda. Would you share a little bit about what you do and why you do it, and how does that help Memphis?
Of course, and thank you so much for the lovely introduction. Thank you all for having me on today. Again, my name is Rhonda Brown. I'm the Director of Real Estate and Economic Development for the Memphis Medical District Collaborative, or MMDC for short, for you ones that really like acronyms. We do a lot here. We are a community development organization that serves 2.6 miles between Midtown and downtown. And we're anchored by medical and educational institutions who are also our funders. So that's St. Jude ALSAC, Methodist Le Bonheur, UTF Sciences Regional 1, Southern College of Optometry. And we cover every area of community development that you can think of. So with my program, I always tell people that I want to build community and generational wealth by working with small businesses, helping them to open and scale with our buy local procurement program, where we want our participating anchors to do business with local minority and women-owned businesses, and also working with the developers to help create mixed-use developments where we have created a destination to come down to the medical district, but also help to create affordable and workforce housing. MMDC touches on everything. We have workforce strategies where we go into underserved communities to help those individuals become certified with their nursing assistants certification. We're starting sterile processing and security next year. But we also do a lot of placemaking where we want to connect those individuals in their neighborhoods, the residents to their neighborhoods. So mobility, where we have Groove on Demand, we do a lot of sidewalk improvement. We just do a lot, and we are now really being looked at as a national brand, and I am so excited to be a part of all of that.
That's great. And Shante, you're next. And then after you, Dee. How about that?
Thank you, Ruby. It's a pleasure to be on this panel with such dynamic women. I want to just really personally thank Dr. Gillespie for putting together a way for us to think about the best ways Memphis is excelling, what we can do in lessons learned, and then more importantly, how we can continue to move our city forward. And for the Women's Foundation, we do that one family and one community at a time. So as a philanthropic organization, we, for almost 29 years, we'll be celebrating our 30th anniversary next year, have been investing in women and children. The mission of the foundation is to encourage philanthropy and foster leadership and support programs that help women and children become economically self-sufficient. And that's many ways that we do that is really focused on the family and the communities that we serve. So back in 2015, we launched what was called Vision 2020. And it really was a vision for creating place-based strategies through a two-generation approach to supporting our families. We really think that in our work, it has been beneficial for us to invest in organizations that help support low-income women and children. So in the communities that we serve, our board, which is a very group of 35 women who are women helping women, set out to really support some of the poorest zip codes in the city of Memphis. We began in 38126, where if you can think about the average household income at the time that we began that work, our place-based strategy was about $6,800 annual income. We've doubled those incomes, and now in Vision 2025 have tripled those income. So when you think about the number of people who have been served annually, about 8,000 folks a year, through our strategies of focusing on case management and wraparound services, early education, job training and placement, financial literacy and wealth building, as well as youth development. These are the strategies we focus on to support our communities. We've now begun in 38126, and we've expanded those efforts to reduce poverty in 4 additional zip codes, 38106, 38105, 38107, and 38108. So Dee and Rhonda, an opportunity soon for us to be partnering together as we are creating these very specific focused place-based strategies all in around Memphis, right? So as the development in Binghampton happens, the development in the medical district happens, we want to make sure that the communities that surround those efforts, we're really bringing an integrated approach to how we're making Memphis better.
Wow. Thank you, Shante. I have to follow you. That's quite a challenge. I'm Dee Franklin. I'm the executive director for the Binghampton Development Corporation, which we refer to as the BDC, and it's anchored at the heart, the geographical heart of Memphis. The BDC was founded in 2003 by the Christ Methodist Church. So we are a 501c3 faith-backed community development organization. And we're founded with the mission of improving the quality of life in the Binghampton neighborhood. And for over 21 years, the BDC, along with its cross-sector partners, have transformed blight into community assets, as well as created low barrier living wage jobs within the community. And some of those assets would be Hope Community Apartments, and that's where a place where seniors can age in place, nice, safe, affordable rent. Tillman Crossing, where families are able to live in dignity. Newly created 219 units in Tillman Cove is the place to live in Binghampton, where we are co-developers. the Binghampton Gateway, where Junior Achievement and Dollar Tree are the anchors, and that development brought in 50 jobs to the community where people are able to walk to work. The BDC, along with its partners, were also very instrumental in having the Binghampton neighborhood, uh, I guess, to help them achieve the TIF district designation. And what that means is 40% of the incremental property tax dollars are reinvested directly in the community to help homeowners, businesses, as well as infrastructure improvements. One of our large programs right now, and as well as our growth engine, is the BDC Hub Employment Program. And it is a warehouse-based employment training program. And it provides low barrier living wage employment opportunities within the Binghampton community. And this is done in the recycling space, the third party warehouse space, as well as logistics. And so that is like our growth engine right now. And it not only are we providing jobs, but we're also trying to partner with others to increase our impact and our reach. And I'll leave it at that for now.
Well, thank you. Thank you, all three of you, for that overview. You know, there's a thread here around investing in community and place-based work to really set an example of that can be replicated throughout the city to build the economic empowerment of families as well as the community. And we appreciate what you bring to the community. You know, I want to shift a little bit after we've gotten this overview, and as we think about, you know, this period, especially during the time of, you know, the political environment, as well as just, you know, the economic conditions and, you know, I wouldn't say uncertainty, but clearly we will have some transition that we need to look at. So, you know, I'll go with you, Shante, first on this. How do you see changing policies affecting your organization and the broader community? You know, particularly as it relates to some of the policies that we're seeing change, not only on a state level, but on a national level, as it relates to families.
Well, thank you, Ruby. You know, part of the work we've done in community for the last 29 years, and even with our place-based strategies since we began this in 2004, you know, the Women's Foundation has been the philanthropic lead on 5 different revitalization projects, beginning first with Lamar Terrace, what is now University Place, secondly with Dixie Homes, which is now Legends Park, thirdly with Claiborne Point, Claiborne Homes, which is now Claiborne Point, and now with Foot Homes, which is now Foot at South Park. So you have all of these different revitalization efforts that have happened around the city. And so, you know, Rhonda and Dee, when I talk about the ways that we're all so interconnected, it's think about the entire 240 loop, right? That as our work and your work has demonstrated the need for us to have revitalized communities. And so as it pertains to the policies that will be impactful for us as a Women's Foundation and the families that we serve, we have seen that affordable housing continues to be one of the largest challenges we have here locally, on a not so much on a statewide level, but definitely nationally, that affordable housing continues to be a challenge for the families that we serve. And so when you couple that with families who have lived in multi-generational poverty and all the ways that both Rhonda and Dee have talked about small businesses and the growth of women-owned businesses and opportunities for us to create economic and social mobilities for the families that we serve, making sure that there are policies that also support women when it comes to affordable health care as well as childcare. And so I think as we're looking at the political landscape, we think about the things that impact families the most. We want to make sure that benefits continue to stay in place for those families as they are transitioning, right? From being a woman who has maybe in the past been reliant on public services, but now is working. She's thriving, not just surviving, but now she's thriving. How do we make sure that policies don't create a cliff effect for her, right? So that those subsidies that she needs to continue to transition, so that it provides the stability and support that's needed for her and her family. So for us, Ruby, those policies continue to be things like affordable housing, childcare, as well as making sure that there are benefits that help support families as they transition from surviving to thriving.
Dee, how do you see changing policies affecting what you do in your organization?
Some of the same policies definitely impact us, but I will say the things that I'm looking at right now would be policies impacting economic development, job creation, as well as environmental deregulation. Primarily, that's our growth engine, creating jobs in the green space. And to the extent that deregulation in environmental space occurs, that definitely places more of a challenge on us as we are planning to expand and create more jobs in that space. However, because we have historically partnered with people, organizations across different sectors, we have created self-sustaining programs. So as those regulations may impact one part of the business, it gives us an opportunity to grow in a different area. So we're also looking at like the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. While at this point, I think under either administration, we think that should not impact our training programs, but we're continuing to seek out partners to help leverage the cost as we're creating innovative employment opportunities in the neighborhood. And so as we are anticipating changes, we are seeking partners along our service chain to help us increase our impact and reach.
Great. So Rhonda, picking up on that and thinking about your work and the broader, economic development opportunities, I guess across the city, uh, what do you see as one of the, I guess my question is more of, with all of the changes and that could happen or is occurring, like in Memphis, with Blue Oval and all of that, what would be an adaptation that we need to be aware of in Memphis related to economic development?
Well, I'm going to go to one of our programs that we have here, and we want for everyone to just support these small businesses that's here. Um, when with my work, and I'm going to piggyback on Shante and what Dee said, we service 7 neighborhoods in the medical district. 2 of those neighborhoods have both have the highest poverty rates in the city of Memphis. So even working with these small businesses to ensure that they're stable, to make sure that they have the capacity to be able to do business in those neighborhoods, that creates a workforce. They're able to hire people in the neighborhoods to come and work. They're able to, with that, build community wealth. With that, they're able to build generational wealth. Um, we, as a community or as a whole, we always want to go to the national brands. We want to go to, let's see, a Target or something to buy something. However, we have these smaller community stores that offer sometimes the same things that those higher national stores offer. We want to be able to go into our communities, build up our communities, which will help build up our local economy. With our Buy Local program, we really want our anchors to do business with local, minority, and women-owned businesses. We strive that if a business is not able or don't have the capacity, we gonna get them to the capacity where they are able to carve out some of their spend for those local minority and women-owned businesses. So the main thing is to try to keep those tax dollars here local, so we are able to build up our communities.
And Dee, again, our realities for you ladies that we must look at is that the political climate, will change regardless of the outcome of the presidential election, and then how that ties back to our community. Um, we just got over, COVID, or I don't know, are we still in that transition? And that was impactful, in so many ways. That was negative, but there was some things that came out of it around collaboration and coming together. As we prepare now, and you think about your business and the possible growth of the economic development of Memphis, what do you think in particular are strategies that a strategy around collaboration that must occur? And I'll go to you, Shante, to answer that. I know that there are a lot of political tentacles that connect to that, and I also know that you have your pulse on your you have your hand in the doings of all of that, in all of the roles that you play. But for us that's on the call right now, and I'll shut this question down, but you know, how will we ensure that Memphis, to the best of our ability, will continue to have growth during this period?
Well, I'll start, and I know Dee and Rhonda both will have great insight in this, but I think for us, it's always been about collaboration. As a part of our work, we've always seen ourselves in this critical role, one as a convener, but a part of public-private partnerships, right? So when you think about the amount of growth that has happened with revitalization of so many of these communities, the work that Dee, you've seen with a transformed Binghampton, Rhonda, what you have seen with the medical district, and then for us, what we've seen with these communities with some of the highest poverty rates, where we're now providing opportunities for families and individuals to own businesses, to be able to accumulate assets, things that we know make communities strong, is part of what we've been able to do here at the foundation. Now, let's throw a pandemic into all of that. No one could have ever imagined what a pandemic would have done to communities, but it created for us what I know is one of the greatest assets of Memphis, which is our resiliency, right? Mm-hmm. We are a resilient community, and it's not just pull yourself up by your bootstraps, but it is the innovation and the creativity that the people of this city have that has continued to help us to grow and evolve. And I mean, we're the home of some of the largest Fortune 200 and 500 companies, right? That innovation started with people who lived right here in Memphis. And so what I think is some of the greatest strengths that we have as a community are the resiliency of the people who live in those communities, but really empowering them to have the resources to evolve into what they need and what their communities need. When Dee mentioned that it is an organization faith-based but community-led, I think in all aspects of our work, we want the people who are going to benefit the most to have a say-so in how their communities need to look, what they need to have as assets, and how they can be empowered to make the decisions on behalf of their communities. So, Ruby, that's a long way of saying I'm a deep believer in making sure that the families that we serve are empowered. We feel like those folks who are the closest to the problems are the best authors of those solutions. And if we continue to use that model and empowering the people who are living in these communities, it continues to be Memphis to be its greatest asset and shine, a way for other cities to see us too.
Thank you. And Rhonda, the heart of the medical area, the district there, and of course, we know the people who need medical care the most are those who are underserved or don't have access to health care and healthcare needs. Tell me, how are you addressing that in the medical district, and what are the needs there?
Well, a lot. So um, we recognized that a couple of years ago that these two neighborhoods that we service, a lot of those residents were either no insurance or they were underinsured. So, however, we're right in the center where we have Le Hospital, which is the number one hospital for children to go to. We have Regional One here that is the number one trauma hospital for anyone to go to. And we have St. Jude, which is the number one, children's hospital for cancer. So uh, we as an organization just make sure that we provide the necessary information to these residents to let them know that even you think you may not be able to obtain the health care that you need, you can. For the past 2 years, we have had a wellness festival where we invited all of our anchors to come out. We did blood pressure checks. We did UTF science. Students came out and they brought the large brain out so kids could learn about the brain. We had Southern College of Optometry to come out and do eye exams. And you just wouldn't imagine how many people had never had an eye exam. And so being able to collaborate and partner with our anchors to be able to bring that service to Morris Park, where, again, next to one of the neighborhoods that have one of the highest poverty rates in the city, to be able to provide those services has been game changing for us. We have had so many people to come back and say, thank you guys. I've never had my eyes checked, or I've never been able to go to get my blood pressure checked. I made a connection with the doctor. We even gave, information for Shelby County Health Department gave information for AIDS and HIV. We're one of the top cities now for for HIV cases, and those cases are between 16 and 24. So to be able to provide those services just have been a game changer for those neighborhoods that we service.
That's great, and that's so important when you were talking about access to healthcare and the basic needs. I am reminded, and Shante can attest to the fact that when we were working with families in Dixie homes at the time, and one of the basic needs for employment was to have dental work done, and this is where you start off thinking that there's one basic need of housing, right? And then you find out the wellness of families is their ability to have all their services available. And I mean, it was life-changing for us to help one lady be able to just get dental work done. She said so that she could smile and that she would have confidence gaining employment and employment opportunities. And she went on to do be very successful. So that means a lot to families, as you all know, all three of you are very much aware of. The medical center is a jewel, and I think that there's lack of access or people knowing about it. And Shante, could you comment on just the access for services that pick up on what Rhonda was talking about?
Sure. And, I thanks, Rhonda. And my other hat as a county commissioner, to hear you talk about the Shelby County Health Department do such a great job of providing those resources. I think that is the beauty of what collaboration is. And when you think about what those resources are, you all have built a community, right? The Memphis Medical District and Binghampton. And for us, it's through our grantee partners. So each year we invest funds into organizations that are supporting our families. This year we made an investment of $1.8 million to 38 organizations who are doing just what Ruby's saying, make sure that you have access to these resources, right? Oftentimes, our families have not been outside of a 5 mile radius of the house in which they have lived or their grandmother lived, right? And so when you're talking about building these communities from the ground up, it is really just empowering and providing resources for them to do what they know how to do. Right. And so thinking about the connection for us and making sure that grantee partners provide, whether that may be access to childcare with a new early education center, which we're building right here in South City. You know, our goal is to have a whole youth development metropolis right in the heart of South City, right? So that there are not um, there isn't a barrier to folks having what they need, whether that's from cradle to career. And I think that's what you all are doing as well when you're thinking about the ways that your communities are able to provide the resources that are needed. We're doing that one community at a time. We're starting in 38126, moving to 38106, but all the ways that we can continue to elevate not only the assets and anchor institutions that are in these communities. For us, those are things like our churches and Mono College and Stillsville and Stacks, and all of the ways that we want to make sure, and for us, BTW, the historic high school that is right in the heart of our community, how do we make sure that the folks who are living in these communities don't have barriers and that those resources are also available in the communities in which they live, work, and play?
Thank you. And Dee, um, just when we talk about the continuum of, making sure that the health and well-being of families are good, the educational opportunities are there, and families are thriving. Home ownership is is a big um, is a big dream, but not accessible to so many families. And, I know that stabilizing families is important, just getting a roof over our heads, right? To making sure that that can be consistent. But talk to us about what you see as something that we, one, have to recognize that's an opportunity. I hope that you'll confirm that, as well as what you see as could be adaptation that is needed as we, move in this political climate.
I'll say one, and as you know, I've been in this role for 1 year. And the first thing I came across was that affordable housing is not affordable. And the BDC, we still own um, vacant parcels of land in the Binghampton area that we have not yet developed. And we've got a long-term commitment to affordable housing in the community. And so right now we've reserved not building on those properties because that's earmarked for first-time homeowners in the Binghampton area. Now, given where we are, we had to do some adjustments on wages. And so we thought that's where we could have the most impact. And so that's where we put all of our efforts into creating jobs. But not only those jobs, the jobs that we create are definitely training positions to help people move into more livable wages. And so this is what the community has asked us for, and we've responded. And so, where we've got the business hub that's creating more physical type roles, low barrier roles, we've noticed we were not capturing everyone in the community. And that's where we've come up with the retail workforce development program. We've got 30% of our population in Binghampton are seniors living on Social Security, in which, affordable housing is sometimes a stretch. uh, Quality affordable housing is sometimes a stretch. And so we see that we fit in that manner by creating employment opportunities as well for the seniors and those who cannot, people who need a flexible work schedule. Not everyone's able to work from a 9 to 5 or even, until 12 for different reasons, health reasons, childcare reasons. And so what we're working on is trying to remove as many barriers as possible so that anyone who wants to work will be able to work. And we'd like to create those opportunities in Binghampton so that transportation is not also a barrier. What we have been doing at the hub is we are paying trainees to reduce their own barriers. So, driver's license, you don't have to do this on your own time. We will pay you doing work hours to go and get your driver's license. We'll drive down there with you. Voter registration cards. We had our first trainee purchase a car and we walked them through the process. So, that what we are developing at the hub, we are now trying to bring over to the retail place. And, I believe this is a model that could work in any neighborhood that looks like Binghampton. And so we would like to increase our reach by bringing it to other zip codes. And Shante, we're 38112. Just put that on your list.
I love
I
collaboration.
do.
This is awesome. We're making connections.
We are.
And I just want to let everyone know that's on this webinar that we will take questions in a few minutes. So jot them down, and we will make sure that we get questions directed to whomever you would like or overall so that we can get answers. And thank you again for tuning in to this webinar. I want to thank Dr. Gillespie and her department of public and nonprofit administration. This is so very, very important to have just a real great conversation about how do you build community through health, through economic development, housing, and ensuring that education as well as youth development and all of these things that are important, that these trainings are provided. So how do you, I'm going to ask this question and I'd like for, all three of you to just give an answer, looking ahead, what's your vision for the future of Memphis? And then how do you see your organization contributing to a thriving community? I'll start with Rhonda.
Yes, I think for MMDC, well, let me go back. To me personally, I am really wanting to continue to build that generational and community wealth. I just have to, for a split second, share about a particular neighborhood that we have, which is the Uptown community, that a developer started. He wanted to create that missing middle housing and I don't even like to even call it affordable housing. I like to call it equitable or attainable housing for individuals. But he really created that attainable housing and came to us because he also had space for limited commercial. Well, we helped to recruit 3 tenants to go into his limited commercial space. Those tenants have now hired neighborhood residents from 16 on up to help continue to build up that community. That's what I want to continue to see, me as personally and MMDC as an organization, to share about workforce development with our Hire Local program. We have individuals that go through CNA training. They get their CNA certifications, and then they have an opportunity for an interview with one of our hospitals here. That goes in, that helps fill in those gaps in the hospitals, but also create a career path for them. We had a young lady that she came to us breaking generational curses, um, got her CNA certification, started working at Methodist Le Bonheur, was able to get benefits, a living wage, and access to student reimbursement. Continued her education and went to Christian Brothers and now is a RN. Those are the stories that we want to continue to do as an organization and for myself is continue to build that community and generational wealth.
That's great. Shante, do you have any comments on that and then Dee?
Well, I think we've shared some of our vision through this conversation, and for us, it's to have really to increase the economic and social mobility of families and the communities that we're serving with 38126, 38106, 38105, 107, and 108, and then I guess eventually in 38112. But for me personally, it's really that we can continue to grow investments and that the Women's Foundation continues to be a lead organization as a convener and these public-private partnerships, because our viewpoint is different, that it's by women for women, right? It's women helping women. And so because we know so many of the people that need to be served in this community are women with women and children, it's really with that focus and that lens of supporting those families, because we really feel like supporting that family really helps support a community, and helping each community continues to help our city.
And so, dream with me, please. My wish or my vision is for beautiful, vibrant, safe neighborhoods where seniors can age in place, where families can have access to dignified housing, where equitable health care, but that's a norm,
Mm.
where living wage jobs are based in communities where people are able to walk and where there are excellent schools, that this is a norm. I dream for Memphis, where everyone gets to participate in the economy and everyone benefits from the economy. That's my dream and my vision for Memphis.
And Rhonda.
Again, just to piggyback, just continue to build on this community and generational wealth that we are creating for our residents in the 7 neighborhoods that we serve.
That's great. I want to open it up for questions. Dr. Gillespie, I'm not sure how that will be facilitated, but if any of you have anyone on the call, first of all, again, I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for joining in. And I hope that each of you have gotten a little bit of many pieces of nuggets about how we hold the community together. And I'm going to take personal privilege that, as you can tell, that women are leading that in this community. And thank you all the men for being such supporters and opening the doors, and also standing back and allowing us to move forward.
I'll just chime in real quick and say that I'm monitoring the Q&A in the chat, or if you want to speak up your question, feel free to do that. I had my own question if I could kick things off. When looking to put this webinar together, we were thinking about social change organizations, and I truly believe each one of your organizations is about social change and could be defined as a social change organization. Dee, when I think about your work, it's the opposite of gentrification, right? It's about lifting up the community and the people that live in that community. When I think about the Women's Foundation, I think about 3-generational investment in neighborhoods. And when I think about Rhonda's work, I just think about all of this effort to support these particular communities that no one else is paying attention to, right? That needs that support. And so do you consider your organization to contribute to social change? And what is it about this neighborhood approach? I know you're still changing one life at a time, and that contributes to social change, but what is it about that neighborhood approach that's so important?
Do you want to direct it, or?
Oh, no, open to anyone, whoever might have
Okay.
it.
Okay. I think that they were just waiting.
Sorry.
No problem.
I guess I'll go since I'm based in a neighborhood. Um, I find that approach as to be effective. One, it's manageable, right? And also we're able to bring people together with, like goals and objectives. And in Binghampton, there are several nonprofits, and we work together to service the community. So we're able to leverage one another and the moment and develop more momentum versus trying to cover a wider range. While I believe some of the issues that we are addressing and working as a team on may impact other areas, I think we just get more leverage and momentum by focusing on our community. It creates a sense of pride and I think overall well-being.
I would agree with in our organization was established in 1995, and we did grant making broadly, and then really focused in 2015 with our place-based strategy. And what we've learned is really a sense of community amongst the folks that we are working with, and empowerment of the residents who live in those communities. Many of the organizations that we've been funding, we've been working with for decades, right? And they're community based, they're neighborhood based, and so you don't live in this community and not know Miss Esther, or you don't know. I mean, like it's that sense of being in embedded within a community that you get to know the people and the assets. And again, as I mentioned, for all of us, we all have these anchor institutions within our communities that we want to make sure that folks see as a value, but also that the people, which is the most important value, right? The people who live in those communities, the most important value, that we're making the investment there.
Exactly. Thank you. And we have some great questions in the chat. Rhonda, one for you. How do you think the Aldi going in the old Office Depot building is going to positively impact the MMDC?
We are so excited about Aldi going into the Office Depot building. Every year, we do a survey to our anchors, the employees, the students, and the residents about what do they feel is needed in the medical district. So to go back, we were established in 2016, so we're still fairly new organization. And we were considered this drive-by or pass-through. You only knew about the medical district because of Regional 1, who people still, if you old school, have been here a long time, reference as the med. That's where you would go. And so, to know where we were as almost a food desert in these 7 neighborhoods that we serve, and to bring a grocery store like Aldi, which is affordable, that offer healthy options, it is a game changer. To go back to our survey, the 2 things that everybody has said the 3 years that I have been here is that they wanted a grocery store and we needed childcare. We got the grocery store, and I'm still working on the childcare, but I promise we're going to have childcare services here in the district where these students and these residents are able to, like I do with my child, leave home, drop my child off at school, go to work, leave work, pick my child up and go home, where they don't have to way off or whatever to get to their employment. So we are so excited about the Aldi coming into the medical district. And I will invite all of you all to the ribbon cutting.
Yay, wonderful.
Well, Rhonda, when you're inviting us to the ribbon cutting of Aldi, then we'll be inviting you all to the ribbon cutting of the new South City Early Education Center, which I'm hopeful that the folks who are living and working in the medical district consider that as an option, right? Where childcare, affordable childcare, not far from where they work. And as you say, it continues to create a sense of a more vibrant community, right? Because it's mixed income and it's mixed use. It isn't that these folks have childcare here, these folks have, but it's just an option for all folks who live, work, and play in our community. So we'll be celebrating at both ends, and we're going to meet somewhere in the middle.
And you know what? Just to share, Shante, I love that because we have had child care centers that wanted to come in, but they only wanted a certain demographic. And I said, no, you have to take all income levels. So I love that. And I stand on that.
Excited for us to start some more collaboration, ladies.
Yes,
We'll be
absolutely.
collaborating in 38112, and we'll be collaborating on the Early Education Center to make sure that all folks have access to quality childcare. That's important. Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Rhonda.
And that's
This has
why
been great discussion, ladies. I want to be respectful, of time and see if we can get one more question. But you have all been, if I don't get to say this before we get cut off, but you've all been phenomenal and just bringing home the dream. I love Dee say, dream with us, dream with me for a minute. And I just remember when the Women's Foundation, decided to take on poverty in one zip code, and we, had to say, dream with us and stay with us, because it's not a short run, right? It's, generational poverty cannot be solved in 5 years or 10 years. However, we can start to see traction, and that's the same in community. Yeah, so this is just great discussion. Health, having access to health, having a seamless process is so important. Having a home, and a place, a safe place to live and raise your children, and to be able to contribute to your own economic self-sufficiency is very important. And that information you ladies are bringing forth.
I'll just quickly ask one final question, and the two audience members wanted to know, how can the community get involved in your work, support you? How can young leaders get involved in your organization? Fill us in on that great information.
Well, I was hopeful that was going to be the last question, because as you all know, we're all nonprofits. And so our job is to raise money for the organizations that we serve, right? And so to get involved with our organization is very simple. I mean, we see each and every person who makes an investment in our work as a philanthropist. That's the philanthropist who gives $1. That's the philanthropist who gives $50,000. And so I think that they're $50,000, but there's so many ways that you can get involved with our organization, whether that's through some of our volunteer opportunities, attending our events, one of which is the Power of the Purse tomorrow night from 6 to 8 at the Children's Museum. It's a fun food and fashion night, but that's one way you can get involved. But more importantly, it's important for you to understand the work we're doing, and that if you're making an investment, you're making an investment in a greater Memphis.
Go,
Yes,
Dee. Oh, Rhonda, go ahead.
I'm sorry, because we talking about money, so I wanted to hop on in. So yes, we want for everyone to become a partner of the Memphis Medical District Collaborative. We want to continue to do all of the work that we're doing. And it, like Shante said, it doesn't matter the amount. We just want you to become a partner so we can continue to build up this community where we can live, work, and play, and for it to become a destination where everybody wants to come to. But also with volunteering, we have a lot of things coming up at the end of the year. I am going to plug one thing, my holiday market, which we're going to support small businesses and entrepreneurs. In December, we want to keep those tax dollars here during the busiest time of year. So yes, giving a donation or even coming out to support those small businesses and entrepreneurs is greatly appreciated.
Rhonda.
I would say come to our website, bdcmemphis.org. There are opportunities for volunteering. We welcome donations. One thing we've got coming up soon is definitely a Christmas store, which is a bit different from other organizations, in which we are asking for donated toys from our Amazon wish list. And this is allowing parents to purchase toys for their children at a discounted price. Not one toy is more than $5, 3 toys per child. All proceeds from this sale goes to the employees in the store, and the employees in the store are typically community members. So the money stays within the community. The donations generate funds that then go back into the community. So we would love your participation